G'day, chaps. 'Tis I, ClownPuncher139. Oh, that felt so good to say. Anyway, since Clown Puncher did a video on Arkham City, with the challenge being, how many times do you have to grapple? And he doesn't want to do the other games, I thought I would do him a favor and do Arkham Knight for him. Asylum I won't bother making a video on since it's not a city, so you can only get from point A to point B with one path only. And Origins I don't have, since 1, I don't have PS Now, and 2, I only have a PS4. Night was basically my only option. So like Clown Puncher's rules, I will apply them here. No grappling unless absolutely necessary. Cutscene grapples do not count. If I grapple when it is not necessary, I either have to go back or reload a checkpoint. And finally, he said that no glitches allowed, such as wreck jumping. Later in the video, however, he stated basically just no wreck jumping since he did a glitch and it counted. So we are allowed to use glitches, but no glitches to gain a height advantage. Now with that out of the way, let's get started. Our run starts off as normal. Burn Joker, get drugged in the cafe, and then watch that impressive cutscene that introduces us to Batman. And immediately we are presented with our first challenge. We have to get to Gordon. The average gamer would lose their height and grapple, but I made sure to avoid that and we are still at 0. I decided to do a pig mission, reason being will be later in the video, ran all the way to the cop, and even the odds. And then we are presented with our first challenge. Since we don't have the new suit yet, we can't eject from the Batmobile. However, you can get to the penthouse without grappling. Simply come up to the Welcome to Chinatown sign and walk to the edge of the island, opposite from the sign. Up the stairs, climb up the railing, and come up to the station. Stand on one of the vending machines, and line launch onto the railway. Line launch again onto the walkway, and one more time onto the rooftop. Still at 0 grapples. We get introduced to battle mode, and I decided to do the AR training. Again, reason being will be later in the video. I brought Ivy to GCPD and got introduced to side missions. I did all of them. And then we get to our first road bump. The clock tower. We still can't eject, but no matter how high I was able to get, I had to add 1 grapple. I tried going onto the building right across from the Chinese sign, line launch onto the platforms next to the clock tower, onto the building across from it, and finally onto the railway. But that still was not high enough. Also, I just have to put this out. Check out this glitch I found. I never knew about this. And is it just me? Or ever since they gave us the skins for free, the anime skin and the Zura and R skin, I've gotten so many glitches in the game. I don't know why. Is it just me? Please comment down below if it's not just me. So, going back to the challenge, we add 1 grapple, plus 1 more when we have to leave. Unfortunate, but this is going to come up quite a few more times. Next up, we had to power the antenna. No problem. Just glide up onto the station and glide onto the movie studios. Powered it up, and we are faced with another problem. Normally, you would have to grapple 2 times when we have to save the hostage. But I managed to gain the proper height advantage, glide onto the vantage point, and got forced to do 1 grapple instead of 2. And here comes the next saving grace. But not an instant win. The new suit. Now that we have the new suit, we have the upgrades with ejecting from the Batmobile. However, we need waypoints. You see why I did the side missions? And some of the challenge maps? Thank God the challenge maps have a waypoint reward if you get 3 stars. I got enough waypoints to get both eject upgrades. But like I said, it's not an instant win. Because as soon as we are introduced to Arkham Knight, we are forced to grapple to the top of Ace Chemicals. For some reason, I can't get in the Batmobile. So we add 1. And here is the only time I will use a glitch in the whole entire run. I decided to do what speedrunners do and open the gate first, go to the first hostage that introduces us to Arkham Knight, then do the glitch that gets us to the next hostage. Simply go on the pipes, outside of Ace Chemicals, do a dive roll against the wall, walk to the right, and glide to the elevator. But as soon as we get to the next hostage location, we need another grapple. 5 grapples so far. But I didn't do the next glitch that speedrunners use, since it requires a grapple. And then we get to this jump. This jump was so poorly designed. I spent the most amount of time on this. Because this is how it's designed. If you eject and land on one wall, you basically have to jump back. Because once you fall in between the 2 walls, you cannot get out without grappling. Even when I line launch, even when I glide off the first wall, you cannot make it onto the second wall. So I had to time this perfectly. And I did it, while getting shot up in the process. But I was able to continue the story. And that's it for Ace Chemicals. All we have is this fight and a stealth mission, and then we have to escape Ace. We head to Gordon, and then the clock tower where I ejected 2 times, 1 for the Predator section, and 1 for the top. Discovered Zaz, and had to grapple when we were inside. Now we can finally head to Bleak Island. It was a bit of a challenge, but I successfully didn't grapple once, and I didn't get shot either. Until I had to go to Wing Tower, and I could not find any other way to get higher than this. Thankfully, it was only 2 grapples. Headed to the tunnels, where it would appear we had to do 4 to 5 grapples. I managed to reduce it actually to 2. Simply glide onto this beam, grapple once, and then look at the next point where you have to hold R1 in order to get to the ventilation system. Did one of my favorite interrogations, got the disruptor, and faced another challenge, chasing the truck. Thankfully, I didn't lose it once, even in my test run surprisingly. I got to Penguin. Whoa, I butchered that name so badly. I got to Penguin, got my information, and we're stuck in this room. Or are we? Watch this. Patience was key as I got away from that room scot-free. But when I got outside, I was slapped across the face as we had to add another grapple from the ambush. Then we headed to get the remote hacking device and got stuck in Founders Island. But I managed to glide all the way to my next objective, headed back to the Batmobile, ejected again, just so I can only add 2 grapples on the other Wayne Tower. Now what are the odds that we have to grapple in a blimp? You know what, Militia, what do you have to say about this?
I've been waiting.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Anyways, we get drugged again, head to the penthouse to figure out Ivy's the key to all of this, and discover the Cobra. Now right here, I did not press R1, so this does not count. Dropped off Ivy, met Tim, and had to get the drone chip for the remote hacking device. This part was a bit difficult to navigate, but I managed to get all the way back to the clock tower to get the message from Henry without any grapples. Until I had to leave the clock tower again. Now what are the freaking odds that I have to grapple inside? Alright, I'll just cut to the chase. I only had to grapple twice, and it was only with this minigun. We got caught as the last Joker, threw Tim in the cell, and back to Ivy we go. And then we had to take her back to the GCP.
Ivy, get down!
Now comes the hardest part of the run. City of Fear. I struggled so much with this in my test run that I actually added a grapple when I did this. But in my recording, I found out that I was able to get to the blimp without grappling. How, you may ask? Simple. Don't go left like the Riddler says.
Go left.
Go to the right side of the map, onto the railway, line launch all the way to this building, climb to the tippy top, and if you got the bridge trophy, you know the proper tactic. With dive bombing and gliding. I had the perfect glide. Almost perfect, I should say. I glided all the way to this crane and then prayed to God that Batman would grab the ledge of the blimp. Thankfully he did. And that was it. Thankfully I had no grapples in the City of Fear. Because literally the rest of the City of Fear section is a stealth mission. And sitting on your butts in the Batmobile the whole time. Well, then we had to go get Ivy, but no problem with that either. Ivy dies, we head to Arkham Knight's HQ, and we have to add, from my count, 2 more grapples. Our Batmobile goes bye-bye. We surprisingly find out that Jason was the Arkham Knight this whole time. Shocking. I totally didn't see this coming. But this is the room where I was done for. I had to grapple a whopping 6 times. 4 of them being I grappled onto Jason, and the other 2 were to escape the room before it was gassed. Bringing the tally up to 27. Jason escapes. Oh God, I gotta stop doing that joke. We found out Oracle is alive, headed back to the GCPD, and then we faced the final challenge of the run, the lockdown. Right after we take all the militia down, when we are presented with this tunnel and this vent. For some reason on my test run, I had the hardest time with this. But if you pay close attention to this clip right here, you can see that I did not grapple. But then we had to grapple one more time, bringing the tally up to 28. And that, chaps, is game. Just a tank fight left. We eject onto the rooftop, head to the movie studios, then to the van to get candy, and then the Joker sequence. And that's it. After quite a few days of recording footage, we got ourselves a grand total of 28 required grapples. But hey, if there's anyone who could reduce that, feel free to comment down below. And also a massive shout out to ClownPuncher139. Without him, this video would not exist, and his great content wouldn't exist either. Also, I really hope you don't mind me doing this impression of you, because if you do, I feel really bad and I apologize. But thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.